Say you rented your first apartment or even got a new home, and you're wondering how these towers can make your life easier or better, and how much is it going to cost? Those are great questions. Let's take each one individually. First, as far as getting the cost, our towers cost between $3,000 to $4,000 right now. And when you look at that compared to others, it's pretty much the same as everybody else, but long term, our costs are almost half of what they're going to be. Your power bill on this is going to be less than a few cents every day that you put into the tower. Our towers run on a little more power than a refrigerator and a little less energy than a hairdryer. So that's how much you're basically going to be paying for it every day in electricity. And the rest of it is pretty simple. Your nutrient solutions come in little bags. They're as organic as we can find, and we're continually to work with new partners to get even better nutrient solutions. But you can put those in 5-gallon totes, and they're going to last you multiple months. So very low cost on that, and you get a tremendous amount of crops off of it. When it comes to setup, these things are super easy. No tools required. It's not like going to IKEA and buying something that's going to take you 5 days to figure out how to put it together. With 2 people, you can have it put together in less than an hour. With 1 person, a little over an hour and a half putting it together. It's going to come in a box. It'll be coming via freight. You'll get it, you'll unbox it, and you'll just start following the instructions and setting it up. And within, like I said, about 2 hours, you'll be growing your first set of plants. The Eden Tower comes in 5 different varieties. We have the potato deck, we have a tall deck, we have a double deck, we have a triple deck, and we have a single deck. All of these towers allow you to grow a variety of crops depending on what you want to grow. Yeah, I get asked a lot, what makes us really different? And I'd say one of the things that really does make us different is we truly are like the Swiss Army knife of indoor grow systems. And what I mean by that is most of the systems were built and designed and delivered for very specific customers, but we wanted a system that grows real food, something you can actually live off of. Now, 4 of these towers will produce enough food that's 2,000 calories every day if you have 4 towers. That is a great diet. It gets more complicated when you talk about meals and all those things, but 4 towers, 2,000 calories, that is a lot of food out of the area size of a queen-size mattress. So that's a great thing about our towers. So our towers are designed differently than others. We really wanted you to have real food coming off of them. And because of that, we've put features in that essentially make us the Swiss Army knife of indoor grow systems. Whereas other systems are designed for one specific type of crop or maybe a handful, ours are meant to go across the entire spectrum. The 5 different varieties of towers that we have can grow anything from wheatgrass and microgreens all the way up to potatoes and corn, cannabis, and many other plants, including raspberries and blackberries. So you can grow pretty much anything with it. If you look at our towers as far as the features and benefits go, it is the most feature-rich tower that you can possibly have. Computer-controlled, integrated fans, self-pollination through those fans, LED lighting, the pumps, the filters, everything. It's all there. Everything is meant to make it as easy as possible for you to grow your own food. So one of the questions we get is, how do you pollinate? You don't have bees and butterflies. What are you going to do there? Well, interesting enough, we actually designed the tower so the pump, when it kicks on, it vibrates. And then the fans, we've actually have offsetting fans, so it creates a little, what we call a cyclonic effect. And that vibration and those fans help shake the pollen loose and then move it around so that you get pretty good pollination. But some of your more difficult to pollinate plants, like tomatoes, you actually just take a self-pollinator, which is essentially a Sonicare toothbrush, and put it in there and shake it loose and bring it over to the female plant. And that's it. And we've had really great experience with that. We've had cucumbers just going crazy through self-pollination and a little bit of hand pollination. So it's really easy to do pollination in the towers. So we've talked about AI and blockchain and those things, but we've actually have software in the system right now today that's kind of advanced. We call them watchdogs. These are static software programs that are watching for things that we know can go wrong when you're growing food. And those watchdogs, they just like a watchdog, they sit and monitor the system while you're away. And then if they see something go wrong, they start barking and they let you know that there's a problem. What this means is, compared to normal in-ground growing or even other systems that don't have this capability, you can leave the system for weeks potentially at end. You don't have to be there every day monitoring the system. The system will do that for you. When you look at a lot of the technology that's out there today, our smartphones, for example, you can be having a conversation and all of a sudden you start getting ads about your conversation. We don't want that at Eden. We designed our systems differently. Right from the very beginning, we said we were going to give our consumers the ability to control their data. You don't have to connect to the internet for our systems to work. Our watchdogs will work even if you just have a Wi-Fi connection with no internet. If you just want to be off-grid in your little bungalow somewhere in the woods and have your own network and have all these towers talking to each other, they can. If you don't want them talking to each other at all, they won't. If you don't want to see in your data, we can't. I designed the system specifically to where we cannot reach into your tower. You have to come to a global server and ask for us. This is a security feature that is hard programmed in and cannot be changed from any place on the planet. So your data is safe with Eden. If you don't want to connect to the internet, you don't have to. And the features that I've spoken about in our towers, you get them whether you connect to the internet or not. One of the things I'm excited about our towers is the ease of setting them up. And we look at appliances. Essentially, our tower is an appliance that instead of storing or preserving your food like a refrigerator or canning or any of those things that you spend a lot of money on, our tower actually grows the food for you. And it's not just great for families, but it's also great for businesses and communities. You can take these towers into spaces that you already have, a small workshop perhaps, maybe a rundown facility in your downtown area. Maybe you're a community leader that's wanting to help serve underprivileged or underrepresented communities. You can bring our towers in. All they require is a plug-in, just like a refrigerator. You don't need permits. You don't need to go through a big planning process. You just get the towers, they show up, and within a few hours, you're growing your first crop. Let me put it differently. By the time major grow operations or other indoor grow operations or even your greenhouse gets out of planning, you can have a whole crop coming off of your first set of Eden towers in any facility that you have available to you. These crops can be things like cannabis. They could be microgreens. We have add-ons that allow you to do high capacity growing in our towers. So you get even more starter plants, for example, if you want to sell to local nurseries. You can do all that with a single tower. And you have a bunch of different varieties of plants that are going to work really great for your own business. Another thing that's really cool about indoor growing compared to normal traditional farming is you can do something called succession planting. What this means is instead of planting a crop that then takes 3 months to 6 months to get, which is basically half of your year, your growing season, with indoor growing, you can plant a series of plants and you can get continual harvest off of them, or you can stagger them so that you get continual harvest even longer. So you don't have to grow a plant and then harvest the whole thing. You can harvest it as it grows, and you can keep getting more and more yield off of that plant to a certain point. Eventually they get old and you need to replace them. But you're talking about months worth of growing, far more than what you would have in traditional dirt-based or seasonal-based growing. Another thing that separates our towers from any other that's on the market, we're the only ones that do this, is we have what we call a bimodal system, meaning that you can do aquaponics or just straight up aeroponics. Now you might be wondering what aquaponics is. Aquaponics is when you take fish waste, meaning you're taking live fish like tilapia or my favorite, giant freshwater prawns, and you're taking that fish waste and you're moving it up as plant food, and then the plants clean that water and return it back to the fish. It's an amazing process. It's been around for a long, long time. That means that the only input you need to put in the system is fish food. And we've done giant freshwater prawns and grown them up. But you can do other things like tilapia, you could do goldfish, you could do betas, you could do anything from the aquarium store. But our 60-gallon reservoir that is an option for you on our towers is the only one that's available on the market. We have an add-on to our tower that makes it easier for homeowners and those that are going to be away from their system for extended periods of time. It's an autofill option. If you like this option, we can work through the sales process with you, but this allows you to connect it into your local plumbing, and it will make sure the water level stays filled at all times. When I designed this tower, one of the key things that I needed to take into consideration was USDA food grade policies and procedures. So if you're going to be doing this for a business, don't worry, we got your back. You'll notice in the towers that we've separated the maintenance area from the food growing area. This means that the dirty is away from the clean. In addition, our grow lids are removable, different than any other system out there, and they're replaceable with different add-on options such as microgreens or high-capacity trays. This means that you can take the tray that you want to harvest and move it to your harvest area, do harvesting and not get any of your other food growing dirty, USDA, and then come over and take that tray and put it in the dishwasher, come back and put it back in the system. Super easy.